This is how I made 3.5k for 2 creators in just 45 minutes with a mid-ticket product, without any sales calls, without a complicated funnel, and just by leveraging copywriting. If you don't know who I am, my name is Daniel. I help creators and coaches scale their info product, and I'm going to explain the really simple process that you can use yourself if you are a content creator yourself, if you're a coach, a growth operator, an info product agency owner, and yeah. So to start off, this was a joint venture, so these were 2 creators, each of them with their own Instagram page, obviously, and this was basically a content creation offer that, in this case, the creator 1, I'm not gonna say their name, if you go to my Instagram you can easily find out, that creator 1 was selling for the normal price of 888, right? And this price, it was included a community plus a course, and actually this community they had weekly or bi-weekly group calls, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, weekly group calls. And yeah, the creator was selling the access to this course and community with the group calls for 888, so it's a mid-ticket, and she was having problems with conversion, and she just wanted to do a quick event with creator number 2 where they can use each other's leverage to basically, get more sales, because they are both basically in the same niche. So yes, they wanted to try this type of launch, and so basically both of them came to me asking, what do you think is the best strategy? Mind you, they didn't want to change the pricing structure, so they didn't want to make it a high ticket offer, which is usually what I recommend creators to do. So the really simple strategy that came across my mind was, let's do a webinar launch, because usually for this type of price we don't take sales calls. It doesn't make a lot of sense. It's actually a very tricky price point, because it's not expensive enough to make sales call, but it's still a high price to just put it out there on a landing page or a website for people to just check out and buy it straight away. So this was actually a really tricky price point. So what I thought and what actually worked was, because this creator number 2 was coming to this workshop, what we actually did was we incentivized the buyers to check out at the end of the webinar, which, by the way, I'm gonna get to the structure of it, by giving them a limited time discount code. So at the end of the presentation, they would be able to get access to the community and the course and all of the material by using the code that was provided because of the joint venture between these 2 creators. The way we did this is the process. They were doing the posts on Instagram. I'm gonna put it here. They were doing, both of them, posts on Instagram individually and doing like those collab posts. So they were building hype by posting stories, by posting reels, and this just brought a lot of attention to this webinar, to this live event that they were doing. And this webinar, it was framed as a workshop, right? And the way that they were framing this was not by only it being a workshop, but it was like a free class type of workshop. So the creator number 1 was saying that the creator number 2 was being invited to this workshop where people could learn how to create content. And one specific thing that was mentioned was how this creator was able to reach 150k, this is a detail, 150k followers in just 3 months. So yeah, this brought a lot of hype and attention because, well, people want success, right? So they would be getting a lot of value and sauce and information from this workshop. So with these posts that these 2 creators were doing, this is a bit confusing, I'm sorry. They were using ManyChat automations with keywords. So they would post, for example, a reel for people to DM the keyword, doesn't matter, let's imagine it's workshop in this case, and they would be getting on the DMs the link to go to a landing page. And this landing page, it's basically a opt-in page with some information, with the headline, some simple information, a photo, and then finally a form for people to, well, input their name and their email. After this was done, we got actually quite a lot of people interested. If I'm not mistaken, it was about 700 or 800 just from this landing page alone. Mind you that these creators are actually very big. The creator number 1 has about 500k followers plus across all platforms, and creator number 2 has 160 across platforms as well. So the thing is that, and this is actually a really important thing that I need to mention, which is the content creation offer. It was not marketed with an ROI aspect on it, so it was just content creation. And to go in depth about the niche, it was something about mindful and conscious types of content creation. So there was no money mentioned. There was nothing about money, just content creation in just a soulful way per se. So this is something actually really tricky, because I never quite worked with people in these types of niche, but still it was a content creation. So it is safe to assume that people, when see this type of offer from content creation and stuff, they will be thinking like, oh, I will be making some money eventually with this. But it's really important to mention this was not something that was marketed, the money aspect of it. Therefore, maybe this type of results doesn't quite represent the real potential of making something about content creation. So going back to the point, the DM keyword, sending a link on the DMs, and then they would be sent to an opt-in page where about 700 to 800 people opted in, but obviously because it's a live event and it's not something evergreen, only about 200 people showed up. And these 700 to 800, they added on top of the already existing 3.5k list of emails from the creator number 1. And what we did with the amount of emails that we got, we sent them, and this is the real thing, this is where the copywriting stuff comes in. We sent them a total of 8 emails, actually it's 7, but we sent 7 emails before the actual event. And this is why email, I really like emails, because they are so powerful. They are a big component of creating trust and nurturing the audience of the creator. And this was the big thing that allowed us to make these types of results. And these emails, they were actually, I will explain what exactly there was in these emails. The first point was shifting beliefs. You need to shift the beliefs of your audience. And the way that you do this is by going against the rules per se, right? So if the majority of the market says that a certain way works, what you have to do is say that actually this doesn't work, this works. Or another way that you could frame it is, this works, but this is the better way. It's like the old way and the new way. And so because this was as I was saying, a type of mindful content creation, this was a new way of us framing the content creation game, saying that, well, the content creation game is changing. People are looking for authenticity, for realness, for raw content, for something completely different from the normal. So these emails and the amount of people that we were emailing gave us the opportunity to, give a lot of information about it, to say, you don't need to grind, you don't need to kill yourself trying to create content, you just need to be real. This is how you attract your tribe, these types of stuff. And this gave us an edge because it's not usually talked about. And the second point is giving them value. Now, what does this mean? While they are waiting for the workshop to begin, in these emails, we want to give them value by providing them with resources, with mindset tips, with different ways of looking at content in this specific instance. This can be very broad depending on the niche. So depending on the niche, you just need to find your own way of giving value. And the third point is personal stories. And this is a big one. For you to sell something to your audience, you need for them to like, know, and trust you. And personal stories plays a big part. You need to be vulnerable with your audience. You need to tell stories. You need to talk about past mistakes that you've made. You need to talk about things that you wish you could have done different on the beginning of your journey as a content creator, or depending on the niche. So when you tell stories, this is how you generate trust, because you are opening up like a friend. You're being very intimate. So what I did with this creator, because I wrote all of the emails for the creator, I went through all of her content. I talked to her. I understood what were things that she wished she could have done different, as I was saying. And with all of this information, I put it on a document, on a Google document. And this is how I was writing the emails, like on the screen, you know. Yeah, these are details, but it's actually really simple. A lot of creators try to overcomplicate things, different funnels, different types of products. If your only goal is to make money and provide value, focus on one thing, on one product, on one service. Stop trying to sell different things. This is not how you make a real impact. Do not try and help everyone. And I see this over and over again. And this is even something that I suffer with myself, but that's for another day. Going back to the schedule of the emails, as you can see here, we got 1, 2, 3. And these 3 emails, as you can see here on December 3rd, we got 3 emails. I sent 3 emails this day. One of them was, if I'm not mistaken, 6 hours before the event as a reminder. The other one was about 2 hours before. And the other one, and this is actually, wait, okay, yeah, this is the right way. And the other one was 15 minutes before. So these were simple reminders for people to show up on the webinar. On the webinar itself, there are different ways that you can structure a webinar, but the simple way is, the first part is to provide a lot of value, give a lot of information, just to nurture and create trust, tell stories as well. So a webinar, it's almost like a way for you to replace a sales call. On the sales call, it's basically the same thing. You are talking to a prospect. Now, obviously, selling on a sales call, it's way easier because you are there to understand the pain points. You are there to hear their stories and all of that, and handle objections in real time. But on a webinar, you almost have the same advantage, because people are there live with you, they're listening. You can interact with the audience as well, asking for questions, doing a Q&A, and yeah, provide value. Do not gatekeep the things that you know, because let's look at things from a different perspective. Do you notice the amount of free information there is online? Like, if people actually stuck to the information that they read and see online, most of them would be millionaires by now. So your goal with the webinar is provide value. Do not be afraid of giving them every single piece of information that you know, because let's be honest, 80 to 90% of them will not take any action. Because it's a free webinar, a free workshop, people do not actually value it as much as you would think. So do not gatekeep. By giving them everything that you know, you're just creating trust. So it's a win-win. And the second part of the webinar is the selling. And this is if I were to say the time frames of the webinar, it would be basically let's say 1 hour of webinar or a live event, whatever you want to call it. You want to do basically, it's not 50-50, it would be basically 30-70. But do not get this wrong, because the 70% of the selling is not buy this, this is what you get. No, it's you need to make a transition. You need to make a comparison from a person A and person B, from who takes action, who doesn't take action, and using psychological tactics and strategies to make people want to buy. So it's like a pre-selling process. And the actual selling comes only at the end, where you say that you have this for this price. But actually the way that we did this was exactly like this, was we gave them value and then we passed on to the selling. And the selling was the creator number 1 was, saying how this program was good and telling stories about her, and saying how this unique mechanism, this unique process of content creation changed her life. So the people that were watching, they were like, well, I want this, right? So, and if you remember what I was saying in the beginning about the discount code, because the creator number 2 was there, let me change colors, because the creator number 2 was there, what we did was we priced anchored. So basically we had a usual price, and this is part of the presentation. We said you get all of these things for this price, but because creator number 2 is here, if you take action today, this goes to 699. So it's not a big discount, but it was enough for us to make, a decent amount of money just for this, for the low amount of work that we actually did. And because I've been doing this for quite a while, doing these emails is not as complicated as you might think. Now, I'm not an expert, but I realized that copywriting was the big thing on this. What the hell happened? Was the big thing on this. These emails to nurture the people, and the webinar presentation, which some of the slides I made them myself to increase the chances of these people actually wanting to buy. I don't know what the fuck just happened. Wait. These people wanting to buy. Now, I know that 3.5k, it's not a crazy amount of money. I do realize that. Let's take into consideration that we only had about 4 days to make this. And I was actually saying to the creator, let's make this a high ticket product because it's actually way easier to sell a high ticket. So I wanted to do that, but it was too late to be making any major changes. But this actually worked quite well, a decent amount of money. And even though it's mid-ticket, I don't usually do my mid-ticket. I prefer high ticket 1,000 times more, because this is how you attract high quality people that actually take action on the things that you are saying them to do. And well, you get better testimonials and more clients and blah, blah, blah. And I just forgot to mention, but I think this is pretty intuitive. We didn't take any sales call, as I was saying, and this was just a checkout link. We were spamming the checkout link on the Zoom itself. It was not on the webinar platform, but it doesn't really matter. What the fuck just happened? And we were sending them to the landing page of the Jesus Christ, of the community platform, and this is where people could put the code, and then they would just check out. Yeah, I mean, this is not this is a bit all over the place, but I hope you could understand what I was saying. It was really fun to do this with the creators. As you can see, it doesn't take a lot of work. It just needs the right systems in place, the good amount of copy, the good amount of email to generate trust, shift their beliefs, give them value, show them personal stories, and a really simple webinar presentation and framework. So yeah, I mean, if you are a coach or a creator yourself and you'd like me and my team to do this all done for you, so you can actually focus on the right things, which is the content creation, there's a link down below if you want to book a call. If not, that's totally okay. You can just follow me on Instagram for free value. And yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching, and bye-bye.